everyone, Mama Micah here, and today is a hopefully quick video. This is my updated Nintendo Switch collection, so let's get right into it. I won't spend a ton of time on each game, but I wanted to just give an update on where my collection stands as of now. I've really slowed down on purchasing new games as I've sort of diversified my hobbies a bit more, and I don't have as much time for gaming as I used to. That being said, it's really difficult to hold off from buying all the new visual novels that I see on Amazon, for example, that are getting physical releases because I just adore those games. But I'm really trying to stop spending on games unless I'm actually having time to play them. I'm trying to get into more analog hobbies that don't involve me interfacing with a screen so much. So while I'll always be gaming, I'm trying to, read every night before bed instead of playing Switch, for example. Or I love to cross stitch, and I try to make time for that during my football games that I watch every Sunday. Instead of playing a Switch game during those, let me, cross stitch and keep up with the game while I play. So I have had less time for gaming, but I'm also taking that time to work through the backlog that I have instead of just buying more and more games. These aren't in any particular order. Some of them I did pair up just for ease of talking about them in regards to like sequels, but we're just gonna jump right in. And some of these I haven't played, so I don't have really anything to say about them aside from the fact that they're here. The first game though, definitely a favorite. This is Splatoon 2, which I adored. I played a lot of. I'm not really excited for Splatoon 3, and it's nothing against the series, it's just my time limitation. When it was first announced, I thought, oh goody, more Splatoon, because I really loved Splatoon 2. I had so much fun with it. But the reality is just that I don't have as much time to dedicate to multiplayer games right now. If I'm gonna focus on anything, it'll be the new Call of Duty when that comes out. And my space, my time for that section of gaming is just limited. But I did really love Splatoon 2, and I hope 3 does really well. I hope everyone has a blast with it. It's just not on my radar currently because I just don't have the time to dedicate to it. Next up though, this is Hello Kitty Cruisers. This game is bad. This game is really bad, and I don't want anyone to take the wrong idea about this. I like it because it's really cute. I was gifted this game. The person who gifted it to me knew it probably wouldn't be very good, and it's not. It's very limited on features and the actual racetracks and everything. Some of them are just a reverse of a different map, but the characters are really cute. If you're a huge Hello Kitty fan and you find this like really cheap, maybe pick it up because it's fun to mess around with, but it's not a very good racing game at all, and I definitely don't recommend it. Let me see, next we have, this is Fury Definitive Edition from Limited Run Games. This one was gifted to me. I have not played this, and I think part of that was because I thought that this was like way out of my league. It was gifted to me, and I thought, there's just no way that I can play this. Oh yeah, this one had cool stuff on the inside. I just thought, I don't know, this seems very, very outside of my realm. But I am more interested in it now that I've played some, difficult games, and I think that this is one that I would actually give a go. Oh, okay, this one I'm excited for. So this is Fallen Legion Rise to Glory. This is 2 different games in one. Nintendo did not advertise it as that, and I feel like they did themselves a great disservice in doing so because the value here is great. This is a Vita game and a PS3 game, I think, maybe a PS4 game on here. They're really great, and you get both of them on this double pack. You can certainly play them over on PlayStation. This double pack is called Fallen Legion Rise to Glory. The 2 separate games are Fallen Legion Sins of an Empire and Fallen Legion Flames of Rebellion. I think those are the 2 separate games if you're over on PlayStation. They might also be selling the double pack on other platforms now though. This was really fun though. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's very fast paced. It's not like anything I ever played. Great variety of unique weapons and characters to, play as. The story is good, the voice acting not so good, but I enjoyed the experience immensely. It was a great disappointment though when Fallen Legion Revenants came out and it was not very good. The changes that they made to the core gameplay were just not good. If you liked the first two, you will be, most likely disappointed with this one. The changes they made just didn't make sense. It made the gameplay less fun. The story was decent. Actually, I liked the story quite a bit, but I couldn't get into the changes that they made to the gameplay. They did keep the system of, making decisions which affect morale and affect, how your, the city that you're overseeing, how they see you essentially. And the other games, it's how like your army sees you, it has a morale system. I liked that feature a lot, and I enjoyed sort of this risk and reward system of you might make a tough choice, but you'll be rewarded with a really cool piece of loot or a nice power-up, things like that. So this game kept those features, which I enjoyed very much, but the other changes I just wasn't sold on. I'm happy to have it in the collection because it's not horrible. It's just not what I wanted after playing the first two and loving those so much. And some of it was too much of the same from the first game, seeing the same weapons again and thinking they could have changed it up a little bit more. But I digress. We've spent enough time on a game that I didn't even like very much. Next, this is WarioWare Get It Together. I have not actually had a chance to play this one yet, but I was super excited when it was announced. I just, don't really have anyone to play the mini games with, but I'm sure at some point, I'll get to that. Oh, and this one is Spiritfarer, which I wanted to make sure to pick up when it was released, as a physical edition. I've been holding off on this one because I know the game is relatively sad, and I was having kind of my own sad times in life, and I was just putting this one off until I was in a better space to actually experience that. But I think this is one that I'll get to relatively soon because it's been on my mind a lot recently. I keep seeing, fan art for it from the accounts I follow on Twitter. So it's been on my mind much more recently. And also replaying like The Last of Us Part 1 kind of got me in that zone for a little bit of a more melancholy story. So this one will be moving up the ranks of the backlog. Next up, we have Cooking Mama Cookstar. It's not the best Cooking Mama game. It's okay. If you really like Cooking Mama like I do, and you get this, on the cheap, it's fine, it's fun. It's just not, it's honestly not as good as some of the other Cooking Mama games, and it's a disappointment because I was hoping that what they brought to Switch would be the best one ever. But it's fun if you like Cooking Mama. It doesn't work super well sometimes, which shocked me because overall the Switch, is just fantastic to use, but the motion controls in here were just bad, and there were times where it just simply wasn't registering the input. There have been, patches under this game. Maybe some of that stuff's been fixed, but overall, it's not a game I recommend unless you're a die-hard Cooking Mama fan. Next up is ARMS. We're getting into some of the classics of the Nintendo Switch right now. I adored ARMS. I really had fun with this game. It's been ages since I've even attempted to play it. I never was very good at it. I certainly couldn't compete with other people online, but playing this with friends was awesome. And I really just loved the character design, all the colors. Recently, I unboxed the Min Min amiibo on here, and I just adored the art style of this game. I thought it was really inventive and cool, just something that I didn't have much skill for, honestly. And after that, we've got a copy of 1-2 Switch, which I love this game. I know it got, kind of turned into a meme, but it's really fun. I had some favorite mini games for sure. The one where there's like a treasure chest wrapped in chains and you have to keep, rotating the controller until you unwind it. That one was my best game. I loved that one. I still think you could bring this out, for a little gathering and have a ton of fun with it. I adored 1-2 Switch. I don't know how it got, so much, I don't want to say hate, that's not the word, but it was not as appreciated as I felt it should be for a game that's just really silly, quirky, and fun. Next, this is Yeast 8 Lacrimosa of Dana Adventurers Edition. I have not gotten to this one yet. I had talked recently on the channel about how I was sort of having burnout with gaming, and it worried me because I thought maybe I'm just not as into games as I used to be. But the real issue was that I was playing too much of the same thing in a row, too many long JRPGs in a row. I used to be much better about rotating through games. Like I'd play, a shooter, play an RPG, play a shorter game. And I sort of stopped doing that because I would kind of get into a mood where I just really want to play these JRPGs and work through my backlog of titles. But it ended up kind of causing this fatigue where then I got really sick of these longer experiences. So to remedy that, I have been playing shorter games. So maybe they're still, RPGs, but they're much shorter experiences. And also just peppering in something different like Borderlands 3, which is, a large game to undertake, but it's a very fast-paced shooter. Lots of changes happening. You're constantly getting new weapons and loot. It's exciting. And I'm trying to sort of cycle through the games in a more logical manner rather than constantly picking the same thing off the shelf and saying, why doesn't this jive with me? So this is one that I will get to, but I definitely need to kind of sort through and do a mix of shorter experiences and longer experiences so I don't get that same gameplay fatigue. Something very different from what I normally have. This is Fatal Frame Maiden of the Black Water. I made sure to get one of these when it was available, and I did gameplay on the channel for this, which was a lot of fun. I don't think it's as scary as the previous Fatal Frame game that I played. I didn't get super far in it though. It works well. There are definitely some things that are annoying with the camera and the controls feeling a bit clunky, but overall, I'm glad I got to try this out. At some point, I'll go back and finish it. I really have to be in the mood for scary games because I don't usually want them, right? I'm not much of a scary movie person. I'm kind of warming up to them in the past, couple years, but I typically don't really enjoy scary things, but I often get, sometimes, not often, I sometimes get a hankering for one. So the next time I want to play something scary, I will revisit this and get further than I did last time. I love the concept of Fatal Frame. I really enjoy the idea that all you have is this camera. It's the only way that you can fight against the ghosts. I think these stories are very, haunting and very heavy. There's some really dark themes in these games that I like spending time with them. But it's not one that I'm gonna play through all at once because I just have my limits on what I can tolerate with scary games. This one is a very favorite. This is Yoshi's Crafted World. I adored this game. So cute, fun, colorful, just a real joy to play. I'm not much of a platformer because they just irritate me. I didn't grow up playing a lot of them and I just wasn't very good. So for me, these games do present maybe more of a challenge than they would to the average adult gamer, but they are presented in a way that is so charming and just wonderful. I love playing the Yoshi's, crafted world, Yoshi's Woolly World. They're so fun and engaging. These games also really motivate me to get all the collectibles because as you get the collectibles, you're saving, your little Yoshi friends, and it's just a great motivator for me to get as many as I can because I want to help the little guys out. So that's a definite recommend if you somehow haven't played that one yet, or if you're looking for a Switch game to gift to someone who hasn't played it, I definitely recommend that one. Ooh, this one, Astria Ascending, which I'm taking a break from right now. I like it, I think. It's got some unexpected quirks to it. I really hate the map. It's got some odd mechanics in it, but I think now that I know what to expect, when I revisit the game, I'm sort of taking a break from it because I was getting just a little annoyed with it. But now that I know what to expect from the game, and I'm also just more willing to use a guide if I get stuck on something, because I just want to experience the story, get through it, but not waste a lot of time on it when I'm not having a ton of fun. So I'll revisit this at some point. I think it's interesting. I like the art style. I like where the story is going, but I'm not sold at all on like the map, and the fast travel system is really weird. There's some quirks to this game, but I overall say if you're curious about it, watch some gameplay videos first, check out some reviews from people that you trust, because I like it, but I definitely don't love it. Of course, we have Animal Crossing New Horizons, which really was just so much fun to play during the lockdown phase of our lives. It came out at the perfect time to just feel like, oh, I just want to go out and pick some fruit and hang out with a couple of cute little woodland critters, and in reality, I'm alone in a studio apartment and I haven't seen a real person in several days. This was great for that. I love Animal Crossing. I was obsessed with Animal Crossing on the 3DS. I also did play it on GameCube, loved it there. I just really had fun with this game, and it's one it's evergreen. Much like Minecraft, you can just go pop into your town anytime and just go, see what's new, see how your gang's doing. I like that they don't leave. The villagers don't just take off anymore. So if you are gone for a while, you won't come back to your villagers all being replaced by strangers. They give you a heads up at least of like, hey, I want to leave, and usually you can convince them to stay. But I really like Animal Crossing. It's been a while since I've jumped into it, but it's been on kind of the back of my mind recently as I've thought that would be a nice game to play, during football or something. If I'm in between cross-stitch projects, that'd be one that doesn't require a ton of attention while I'm multitasking. This one is a favorite. This is Shining Resonance Refrain. This was the Draconic Launch Edition, so it came in this cool steel case with the game inside. I adored this game. This is also available for sure on Xbox. Can't remember if it's available on PlayStation or not. Oops, put that on upside down. This was a really fun JRPG, and it's music-based. The music in the game is incredible. I loved it. It's a game that has a little bit of romance in it, if you like that, and I just had so much fun with it. That was a game that I played during a kind of rough patch in my life, and it was just bright and airy. There's dragons. Okay, so that was what I really enjoyed and definitely recommend checking out. And of course, we've got Untitled Goose Game. I just recommended this actually to our nephew because he was asking about what are some Switch games that I think he should check out. And this is just so much fun. Being a mischievous little goose, causing problems, getting into trouble. This was a really fun one that I did a gameplay of, and it's just awesome. The puzzles aren't too complicated. Anyone could pick that up and have fun with it. That's another one I think you could definitely play at like a little gathering, have people just running around being a goose. It's a good time for sure. Ooh, and a little, more difficult, but equally as fun, this is Hades, which I loved and didn't expect to love. This was my first time playing one of these style games, and I was intimidated by it for sure. I didn't think I would enjoy it very much, but I really wanted to give it a try. I think I picked this up on a buy two get one free sale at Target, and I justified it by saying if I really don't like it, I got it for free, and I loved it. The story is engaging, and they give it to you in these little bits and pieces that just make you want to keep playing, keep getting more of that mystery solved, and the variety of weapons, enemies, all of it. I really recommend this game if you haven't tried it yet. Next up, we have the Banner Saga Trilogy. I definitely need to get to this one. It's a Viking RPG adventure, and after I really didn't enjoy playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, this could be my Viking fix. I have to get to this one. It was one that I was about to start, and then kind of the RPG fatigue was like, I don't know. But I definitely need to try this one. I don't believe these are super long games. Last I checked, I'm trying to remember. I often go on, how long to beat, that website to kind of determine what games I want to start next. I don't think these were crazy. I don't think these were like 100-hour games. So I'll probably play one of these, scope it out, see what's what with that. And ooh, this is another one that I really enjoyed. Triangle Strategy. highly recommend. I loved the story, loved it. And the gameplay, fantastic. The variety of, characters and ways to play. I had so many options. I didn't even utilize them all. And that's the beauty of a game like this. Much like Fire Emblem, you've got your different character classes. This is a strategy RPG. And you just have so many options at your disposal, and you can just tailor it to how you want to play. So I loved this game. The story had me hooked immediately. They left it in a way that seems like there should be a sequel, and I will be eagerly awaiting that because this game was fantastic. Another very fun one that I recommend anyone with children, this would be Kirby and the Forgotten Land. This adorable head to toe. This game has a good amount of challenge. The little, challenge mini games were pretty difficult, at least for me. So I'd say that this would be a fun one, for a parent to play with a child. There are definitely parts that would be engaging enough for an adult to play. There are sections that are easy enough for younger gamers to play. This one is just fun on a bun. If you love Kirby like I do, this is one that you definitely need to try. Next up, we have The Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. This was the Storybook edition that I unboxed a very long time ago on the channel. This game I loved very much. It has a sweet and endearing story. It's a relatively short game that you could get through in a weekend. And the gameplay, while simple, was very fun. I enjoyed the environments. They were varied and the art was beautiful. This was a very highly recommended game that I told everyone about, which is why I was very disappointed when the sequel, The Cruel King and the Great Hero, of which I also got the Storybook edition, unfortunately, they made a lot of changes to the actual gameplay, and it's just kind of boring now. The game is too easy, and the enemy encounter rate is so high that if you actually play through all the battles, you'll be so over leveled that everything is a breeze. But it's very slow because the animations take forever. You can't really speed things up. It ends up being boring, unfortunately. So I'm maybe, halfway through the game. I know it's pretty short. I want to finish it at some point just to see the story all the way through. But this was a great disappointment because I just had such high hopes for it. It looks really great. It's adorable. It has an endearing story like the first one. The art style is incredible, but the gameplay itself does not hold my interest the same way. And because of the high encounter rate, you either need to skip the encounters, which the animations for that take a while, or play through them and end up being so overleveled that it's just not even fun anymore. So this is one I don't really recommend. If you loved the first game and you want to check this out, if you can get it really cheap, go ahead and give it a try. But it definitely isn't the same as the first game, and I don't recommend it as much as I do the very first game, Liar Princess and the Blind Prince. This one I still say give it a try because it's a lot of fun. The other, kind of large edition of a game that I have, this is Octopath Traveler, the Wayfarer's Edition. Another one that I unboxed a very long time ago, it feels like, and I just loved this game. It was so good, and I really hope that more and more people have given it a try. This is on the list of games that have made me cry. The story is incredible. The characters are very well written. You might have your favorites like I did. There are 8 of them after all, but I felt like every character belonged in the game. I was glad to have met them and gone through their story. Part of me wishes, honestly, that the game was, 4 characters, just so we could have spent more time with them, but it's an incredible experience. I originally tried to play the game, when it came out. I got lost at a certain point, put down the game when I moved, came back to it, was just completely flustered with where I was, what I was doing, ended up restarting the game altogether, and had just such a great time with it. So if you have tried the game, set it down for some reason, or thinking maybe I'll go back, give it another try. It's incredible. The story, the gameplay, it's just a phenomenal experience that I definitely recommend. This is another limited run game that was gifted to me. This is Golf Story, which I never got around to trying this one either, and I've heard incredible things about it. This is another one that I could totally play like during football time, for example, even though I already said I'm trying to do more analog hobbies during that space of the day, but it's a lot. It's a whole day. So this is another one that would be a good multitasking game, I feel. And after that, we've got Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I have been so close to starting this game multiple times, actually putting the cartridge in the Switch and then, changing to something else because I said, I'm just not interested in this right now. I definitely need to be in the mood for this type of game. I really love them, but it has to be something where you really want to sit down and play it. These games are long. There's a lot of dialogue, and that's actually sometimes what I'm just not feeling. It's not that I don't want the gameplay, it's that I don't want to get into the relationship building and all that stuff, which is a very important aspect of the game, and it's something I like, but you just have to be in the right frame for that. So that's one that I have not gotten to yet. And you can see why I've sort of put a pause on buying Switch games, because the backlog is just insane right now. But I'm getting them. I'm getting through them little by little. This is Kirby Star Allies, this is just cute. Very fun. Highly recommend for anyone with kids in the family, any young gamers. This is a game you can play with up to 4 people, and you don't need that many. But playing this with 2 people, awesome experience. It's a game that is relatively easy, and then I think this is the one where suddenly the final boss battle was just weirdly difficult. It was just funny how most of the game was kind of a breeze to get through, and then right at the end it's like, this is kind of hard. But it was a really fun Kirby game. If you love Kirby like I do, this is definitely one that you need to try. We are not there yet, but we are approaching the pile of shame, which is a stack of games I have completely not tried, but we're not there yet. First, we've got I Am Setsuna, a game very near and dear to my heart. Another game on the list of games that have made me cry. I played it originally over on PlayStation, had to get a copy for Switch, play it again. It was just as good the second time. It was maybe even more impactful because I knew what was happening. The soundtrack to this game is one of the few that I listen to outside of gaming. I really don't listen to much video game music in my life, but I Am Setsuna has such an incredible soundtrack. I just love it. And that game has a really great battle system. You can, once again, customize it based on which characters you have in your party. You do these really powerful combos, and just kind of tinkering with that, figuring out who meshes with who. I adore that game, and it's one I recommend. Regardless of what platform you play it on, check out I Am Setsuna for sure. And this next one, Persona 5 Strikers. Another one I highly recommend if you're a Persona fan. If you love Persona 5, this is a must play. I had never tried one of these games before with the tons of enemies on screen. I didn't know if I would enjoy it. They did a fantastic job bringing the Persona 5, battle system over to this style of gameplay. And the story was top notch. The story was on par with what I'd expect from a Persona title. It didn't feel like this is just a reskinned game and it just has Persona characters in it. Not by any means. I was hooked on the story. The mystery was very good, and that's one I definitely say if you like Persona 5, if you haven't tried this style of game yet, much like Hades, this is a great way to get into a new genre of games. And now we are at the pile of shame because these are just several games in a row that I have not played. So I can't say much about these, but we have got Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I've never played any games from this series. This is the one I was going to start with. I'm sure we'll get there eventually. I know it's a very large undertaking, and I think that's why I hadn't even touched it yet. And actually, Dragon Quest Builders 2, this is another one that I need to suggest to my nephew because I think he'd really dig this. I obviously am a huge Minecraft fan, so seeing this idea of like it's Dragon Quest and it's Minecraft, very interesting to me. I picked this one up for sure on a sale at Target, so I don't feel too bad not having gotten to it yet, but I need to. I have all these awesome games. I need to really dedicate more time to this. And okay, we are going to be approaching visual novel corner. So this is Olympia Soiree. I went on a bit of a spree seeing that these visual novels were getting physical editions on Amazon. I said, I love visual novels and they so rarely get physical releases. So I really just wanted to pick this up, and there are so many right now on Amazon that I just would love to buy, but I'm holding back because I know it's stupid to buy games that I don't have time to play, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I'm gonna keep telling myself that because this is Cafe Enchanté, and this one looked really good. This is about a girl who she inherits her grandfather's cafe, and it's full of, you know, supernatural beings. And I thought, excellent, you know, let's have a romance game where you're dating, you know, supernatural creatures. Love it. Definitely need to get to this one. This is going to the top of a pile. Not that pile, it's not actually gonna stay there, but that was for dramatic effect. I gotta play that soon. And maybe when I finish the actual book that I'm reading, maybe I'll try and do a little bit of like visual novel before bed instead of actual book. Although part of the whole point with that was minimizing screen time before sleep. But what do I care? I gotta get through these games. Nobody else is gonna play them. The other impulse buy game from that spree of visual novels, this is Dairoku, Agents of Sakuratani. This was another one that as soon as I saw it, I said, I want to play this. This is about a woman who can see the paranormal. She works for a government agency that monitors, you know, these supernatural beings. And I thought this definitely was, you know, something I'd be interested in, but I just haven't gotten to it. Look at all these. It's absurd. I have to be better. We will be better from now on. So say we all. The last game. This is it, the last game in the pile. This is Shin Megami Tensei 5. I knew when I bought this that I wouldn't be jumping in right away because I know the scale of these games. So this was one that I was comfortable leaving in the backlog for a bit as I navigate through the many, you know, lengthy JRPGs that I have to tackle. This was one that I just absolutely wanted to make sure I got the Steelbook edition, but I was very, you know, comfortable knowing that this game wouldn't be one I got to right away, and it'll wait until I'm ready to take on a game like that because I know that there's a lot to it. It'll be one that I'll probably want a really decent guide for it, and then we'll go ahead and tackle that. But for right now, that one is staying in the backlog indefinitely because I just don't really feel like playing it. So that was my updated Nintendo Switch collection, including some of my, you know, big box edition games. Even if I didn't end up loving the game, I'm still happy to own it. Part of collecting is that I just really enjoy seeing this catalog of games that I've played. Of course, some of them I haven't played yet, but we won't get into that. I really enjoy the aspect of physical collecting where I look at a shelf and can just see this catalog of all my favorites. And also, if I really hate a game, I can get rid of it and not just, waste $30 on it and be stuck with a digital copy. So I am still committed to collecting physical games. I'm going to be buying these for as long as I can. Who doesn't love these Switch cases, by the way? They're great. They're great. And the special editions that we've gotten so far, like Octopath Traveler, was incredible. And I do look forward to the future of what new games we'll keep getting. I know I have a lot to play still, and I'll get through them, but maybe I'll just pick up a few more first. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite Switch games are from your collection. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!